Welcome to my preview of the Frisco Football Classic featuring 6-6 North Texas matching up against 6-6 Miami. Not that Miami, Ohio. It's going to be Thursday, December 23rd, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. Miami, Ohio favored by 3 points and given a 54.2% chance of winning this matchup. Talking about matchups, it is the first ever meeting between these two teams, a trend in the bowl season so far. Going through the record review here, North Texas actually getting exactly what I thought they would get. 6-6, what I was projecting. Athlon Sports, not quite as high on them, giving a 4-8 projection, but I was going 6-6, and they ended up getting exactly that. Not the way I thought they would get to that record. We'll talk about that here in a second, but 6-6 overall, exactly how I was projecting. Miami, Ohio, actually doing slightly better than I was thinking. I was going with 5-7, thought they'd miss out on bowl season this year. Only played 3 games last year. That a lot of teams, especially from the MAC there in the Pac-12, and kind of in that same boat. So I thought that would kind of mess with them this year, but they're managing to get to bowl eligibility, which is actually what Athlon Sports was projecting at 6-6. So North Texas here, they started off the season 1-6. Remember, they finished the year 6-6. Well, they had 6 of those losses up front. Really, there was no chance. I mean, if you did a Vegas odds prediction at that point, they'd probably be sitting sub 10% at best for a chance at getting to a bowl game, and yet they did it. So in that loss, they had some tough ones, a 40-6 loss to UAB, a good UAB team, but a bad loss nonetheless from that large of a point spread. And then their last loss was a 35-26 loss to Liberty, my second team, to Liberty. Crazy game, just to recap real quick. North Texas was up 21-7 at one point, so up 2 scores, and they was a crazy win because our quarterback, Liberty's quarterback, actually ended up leaving the game with an injury, went to an urgent care, came back in the second half to lead a comeback from 2 touchdowns down to go and get the win. Crazy comeback win. Really was a real statement win for Liberty there to be able to come back in such a manner. Well, for North Texas, it was a wake-up call because they won every other game to finish the season, including 45-23 win against number 22 UTSA, who was sitting there trying to finish off the season there with a perfect record. And North Texas, they run into the wall of North Texas, the Mean Green, take them out, and they end up with that falling short out of the rankings and falling short of that perfect record. And if you were looking at that hurdle to the end of the season, this is what North Texas needs to do to get to a bowl season. To get to the bowl season, no one's going to think they're going to get through UTSA, and yet they did it. It was an incredible win, and the way that North Texas has been able to finish this season is truly a Cinderella story that they're sitting here in a bowl game at all. It's a really, truly amazing, underrated, I don't think anyone else is really covering it, but it is truly an underrated story that they have been able to get through to bowl season the way that they have. For Miami, Ohio, they're sitting here at 6-6, and yeah, they started off the season with a bad loss, 49-14 against Cincinnati. But every other game, every other loss has been by less than 7 points, including a matchup against Minnesota, which was a 3-point loss. But every other game has been by less than 7 points, except for Army, which was a 13-point loss. And they have been this close. I mean, they really have been this close to a much better than 6-6 season here for Miami, Ohio. So neither of these teams, North Texas finishing the season strong, Miami, Ohio, a team that has played well throughout the season, if not necessarily getting quite over the edge to where they wanted to in some of those matchups. But both teams that should not be underestimating each other because this is going to be a very good matchup. Their best win for Miami, Ohio, probably have to say beating Central Michigan 28-17, a team that Boise State's going to be matching up against in their bowl game, the Arizona bowl game. And that's a team, the Central Michigan, that finished the year 8-4. So that's a good win there by Miami, Ohio. Look at top players for North Texas. For North Texas, it's going to be their linebacker. They do have some great players across the board, but their linebacker here, K.D. Davis, has 106 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries, and 1 fumble recovery touchdown. So this guy has been a playmaker all over the field, impacting the point spread directly on defense, which is just an incredible talent to have here. So he is definitely a key playmaker. For Miami, Ohio, it's going to be wide receiver Jack Sorensen, 1,290 yards receiving, 10 touchdowns. He has definitely been their number 1 target all year without a doubt. And those two are going to be, I mean, obviously those two play off of each other there. Linebacker is going to have a little bit more role in the running game. But if the defense of North Texas is able to cover the offense of Miami, Ohio, that's going to be the key in this one. Talking about keys, for North Texas, the key here is to force Miami, Ohio to the ground game. So they're averaging 282 yards per pass, but only 143.3 yards per rush, and they don't really have a true bell cow back. So they only have 14 touchdowns on the ground this season and 24 in the air. So 14 on the ground, I mean, that's respectable, but they don't really truly have one true bell cow back. Now, they have 5 running backs that have gone for over 100 yards, 5 running backs between 100 and 479 yards, depending on their individual stats. So they have 5 guys that can carry the ball there, with the leading running back with 479 yards, but not a true running back that they're going to be relying on throughout the game. And when you're missing a bell cow back who's grinding away at the defense, getting stronger as the game goes on, you really miss something. And I think that if North Texas can force Miami, Ohio to the ground, take away Sorensen, make Miami, Ohio one-dimensional, they'll be able to finish this magical season they've had with a bowl game win. For Miami, Ohio is going to be force North Texas to the air. So switch this, right? Force North Texas to the air. Their running back, Torrey, has 1,215 yards, but both of the North Texas quarterbacks are sub 55% incompletion percentages. The top quarterback here for North Texas has 1,763 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. Or is that 9? Sorry, my 9s and 4s kind of look the same. I think it's 9 touchdowns. So North Texas, they can get some yardage out there, but they're going to be very, very inefficient. So for North Texas, take away the air game, force Miami, Ohio to the ground. For Miami, Ohio, force North Texas to the air. So going to be seeing some very different competing strategies here as these defenses try to do just that in this game. As far as my prediction on this one, I think that North Texas completes their magical run to finish 7-5. Obviously, this is a game that could go either way. Miami, Ohio, better than this 6-6 record with such close losses along the way. But North Texas, I believe in the power of momentum and also the power of motivation. And North Texas, after barely getting into this bowl season, finishing the year the way that they did, getting through UTSA, they are pumped and hyped for this game. Of course, Miami, Ohio is also pumped for this matchup. I'm not saying that, but I think that North Texas is coming in here with more momentum. They're on a 5-game winning streak. The stars are aligning. I think that this is North Texas's win. I'm going to call over on the over-under and win by North Texas. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'm previewing every single bowl game this season. You don't want to miss out on that. Thanks for watching this video, and as always, go Big Blue.